These children play, they smile, and they worship God. But life used to be harsh for many of them. When their parents died, they were left behind, without food or shelter. But Heidi and Rolland Baker heard from God and went to Mozambique to give them hope.
This is the face of God to the world, to these little kids, these little orphans out on the street, losing their parents, dying.
The Iris Ministries base in Pemba, Mozambique is called the Village of Joy. It provides for over 10,000 children, and their ministry has impacted the lives of countless people of all ages.
We preach about the love of God, but we don't just preach. We bring a well to their village. We take care of the orphans. We build a place where they can learn to read and write. We see love in action. If there's a famine, we feed them. We provide seeds and hoes, and it's about transformation, but love has to look like something.
Matt interviewed Heidi on Power for Life, and inspired by her story, Matt soon took a missions team with him to Africa, where they flowed in their giftings.
Tumors are leaving the body right now.
In 1995, Heidi and Rolland Baker and their 3 children came to Pemba, Mozambique. In the beginning, they found homeless kids on street corners. Now, even the government brings abandoned children to their orphanage. Here, they find a home and get a formal education. Most importantly, the pastors and missionaries teach them about the love of Jesus Christ. Upon their arrival, the MSM team was greeted with a joyous church service, where the children, once broken and hurting, now freely expressed their love for God and worship. The congregation listened intently as Matt began to share.
But then you have this thing called union with God, where it's not you left by yourself. It's not you all on your own. It's you plus the Holy Spirit becoming one.
Mozambique is one of the poorest countries in the world, with an economy almost completely destroyed by years of fiscal mismanagement and civil war. The climate is hot and water is scarce. Most villagers live in dire conditions. When the team visited with a widow and her family, they experienced the poverty firsthand.
They are living in mud huts with no electricity and no running water. They have to walk to the well and then bring it back. And the babies are sleeping in conditions that, I'm having a difficult time in. It's unbelievably hot. It's unbelievably humid. They have no sheets on their bed. They're just sleeping on a cot. And it just puts things into perspective.
On this trip, 30 people joined Matt to let their light shine in this remote region. The MSM team met frequently with the locals and prayed for many of them who were in need of healing or salvation. In Mozambique, travel is anything but convenient, with missionaries often walking hours to get to the villages. Matt and the Bakers arrived by boat to an outreach called Mabandar, and they still had to slosh through miles of mud. There, they washed the feet of the villagers and fed the children. These acts of love opened the door for the people to hear the gospel, and they responded to Matt's altar call.
The crowd of children that we have here, they're a mix between Christian and Muslim. So some of these children that prayed the sinner's prayer with us were Muslim children. It's awesome.
But preaching the gospel is not always that easy. Mozambique's population is predominantly Muslim. When Rolland and Heidi first ministered to the locals, they were often met with anger and hostility. Carlos is an outreach coordinator for Iris Ministries in Bandari. He remembers what happened when he arrived in the village.
When we started the church here, so the governor, he was a Muslim. He had like his mosque, so they didn't like us as Christians. He knew like when we came to his village, all the people, they'll be turning to come to Jesus. So he stopped Christian us to come to build the church and to have involvement with the people. So that's why he sent some police and some Muslim people to destroy all our buildings.
But God's plan for His people prevailed. After 1 year, a new government was formed and Iris Ministries was allowed to rebuild. Now, the area has been transformed by God's supernatural love. Many orphans still bear internal scars from the trauma they've suffered. The MSM missions team addressed this with workshops to build their self-esteem and taught entrepreneurial skills.
We've set up a small shop here, and I would let them understand that how they come into their work environment is how they leave their work environment. So cleanliness is a big part of that. Teaching them basic haircutting skills. You can teach somebody, but until they actually do it and they practice it over and over again, it won't materialize into something. So I think we can give them very much the basics.
During their 10 days in Pimba, the MSM mission team had many opportunities to minister, but as they poured the love of Jesus Christ into the people around them, the Lord also touched their lives.
He has expanded my heart. He has, given me a greater capacity to love and showed me what love really looks like. Love is action.
I hope that when I leave this place, I am so forever changed that when I see someone hurting, I will stop. Stop what I'm doing, stop the agenda, and I will see if there's any solution that I can provide.
The MSM team witnessed many unforgettable moments on this trip, but the knowledge that people's lives were changed for eternity is what they truly carried home in their hearts.
This trip to Mozambique, Africa with Rolland and Heidi Baker was life transforming, not only for me, but for our entire team. I loved doing teaching and training with the Harvest School students, hundreds of young people from all around the world. I loved going out into the bush, out into the jungle to evangelize the unreached with the gospel of Jesus Christ. But one of my favorite things was just lying on the floor, letting all of these kids jump on top of me and hold them and just be the hands and arms of Jesus around these little children that have nothing except what Iris Ministries pours into their lives. It was a privilege to be a part of this. I want to encourage you, join us on a future MSM missions trip. Love looks like something. Love looks like stopping for the one, taking a child in your arms, giving them something to eat, and pouring the love of Jesus Christ into them through something as simple as a hug. So won't you come with us and have your life changed and let Jesus use you to practically pour His love into a person's life.